All right, let's dive into one of the biggest unsolved puzzles in all of archaeology. We're talking about an object that has a message from 3,700 years ago. And the craziest part, you can hold it in your hand, but we just can't read it.
Yeah, that quote really just nails it, doesn't it? A document that refuses to be read. It's not like it's lost or broken or something. No, it's right here, in front of us. But it's totally silent. It's almost like it's actively resisting every single attempt we make to understand it.
So what are we actually looking at here? Well, it's this small disc made of fired clay. It's only about 6 inches across, so you could easily hold it in your hand. And all over its surface, you've got these 241 symbols. And they're stamped in this hypnotic perfect spiral. And that right there, that's the big paradox, isn't it? It's in perfect condition, but we have absolutely no idea what it says.
And believe me, it is not for lack of trying. I mean, the sheer brain power that has been thrown at this puzzle, it's just staggering. We're talking about the best linguists on the planet, military code breakers, the same folks who cracked enemy ciphers in World War II. And now, we're even throwing our most advanced AI at it. And still, nothing. No one can agree on what it says.
Okay, so this is where the story gets really interesting. Because look, as mysterious as the language is, the technology they use to make it is even more mind-blowing. It completely shifts the puzzle from what does it say to, wait a minute, how was this even made?
So, to get a handle on this thing, we've got to go back in time, way back. We're heading to the island of Crete, home of the ancient Minoans. We're talking Europe's first great civilization. And we're going right to the moment this disc first saw the light of day after thousands of years buried in the dark.
Okay, picture this. The year is 1908. An Italian archaeologist, Luigi Pernier, is digging deep inside the ruins of this huge Minoan palace. He's down in a dark basement, a storage room, and it's all buried under layers and layers of ash, from whatever destroyed the palace. An earthquake, a volcano, around 1700 BC. And then he finds it. This perfect circle of clay that has just been sitting there, waiting for millennia.
And Pernier, he knew right away this was something different, totally unique. See, all the other clay tablets they found there were written in this script we now call Linear A. It was functional, just hand-scratched lines used for boring stuff like palace inventories. But the disc? Oh, it was a whole different ballgame. The symbols weren't scratched in at all. They were perfectly stamped pictures, laid out in that bizarre winding spiral. It just didn't fit. It was a total anomaly.
And this right here is the technological bombshell. Because the way this thing was made, it just shouldn't exist in the Bronze Age. It's like finding a smartphone at a medieval fair. It's a piece of the future that somehow got dropped into the ancient past.
So here's the absolute key. When archaeologists got this thing under a microscope, they noticed something incredible. Every single time a specific symbol appeared, let's say it's the shield, it was identical, perfectly identical. This wasn't someone drawing it over and over. This was something else. The person who made this had a set of pre-made stamps, probably carved from ivory or maybe even gold, and they were pressing each symbol into the wet clay. And that process, using individual reusable characters, well, folks, that's called movable type. That is, quite literally, printing.
Okay, let's put this into perspective, because this timeline is just wow. The Minoans were doing this, they were printing, around 1700 BC. So when's the next time we see this technology pop up in history? That would be Johannes Gutenberg and his printing press in 1450 AD. Let that sink in. That is a gap of more than 3,000 years. An entire world-changing technology was apparently invented, used, and then just vanished, completely lost to time.
And here is the absolute kicker. Think about it. Why do you invent printing? For mass production, right? You don't go to all the trouble making a whole set of 45 intricate stamps just to make one little disc. You do it to make hundreds, maybe thousands of them. And yet, in more than 100 years of digging all over Crete, this is the only one we have ever found. Just one. The very first printed document in history might also be the last of its kind.
All right, so we've got a pretty good idea of how it was made, which is a mystery in itself. But that just brings us right back to that other giant question. What on earth does it say? And to even start to crack that nut, we've got to take a closer look at the symbols themselves. So the whole message is built from 45 unique symbols, and each one is like a tiny little picture, a snapshot from the Minoan world. You've got human figures, there's a walking man, another guy looks like a captive with his hands tied. There are animals like a bee, tools like a shield, even a little ship sailing across the clay. And of course, there's the most famous one of all, that head with the incredible feathered headdress.
So you might be thinking, okay, they're pictures, why can't we just, translate them? Well, the problem, the big one, is that we're missing a key. Think about how we cracked Egyptian hieroglyphics. We had the Rosetta Stone, right? It had the same exact text written in a language we already knew, Greek, right there next to the hieroglyphics. It was our cheat sheet. The Phaistos disc, it has no Rosetta Stone. It's an orphan text. It stands completely on its own, which means any guess at a translation is, well, it's just that, a guess.
So, when you don't have any real proof, you get a vacuum. And you know what rushes in to fill a vacuum, right? Theories. Countless theories about what this bizarre little object could possibly be.
And I mean, the theories are all over the map, from the pretty plausible to the, well, pretty wild. Some scholars look at the repeating patterns and think, hey, maybe it's a sacred hymn or a song. Others see that spiral path and think it's some kind of ancient board game. There's even a theory that the whole thing is just a brilliant modern forgery, but the scientific dating of the clay itself makes that really, really unlikely.
So now, today, we're bringing in the heavy hitters, computational linguistics, powerful AI, trying to find patterns we might have missed. One of the most compelling recent ideas comes from a guy named Dr. Gareth Owens. He thinks it might be a prayer to a Minoan mother goddess. He's even translated one phrase that keeps popping up as something like, the Lady of Importance. It's a fantastic theory, but that's what it is. One compelling idea among many. Officially, the consensus is there is no consensus.
And really, that's where we're left. We have this incredible time capsule, straight out of the Bronze Age. We found it, we've opened it, we're keeping it safe, but the message inside, it's still locked away just out of our reach. It's like finding a lost page from the story of humanity, and the words are all there, perfectly clear, but we've completely forgotten how to speak the language.
At the end of the day, the Phaistos disc is this powerful reminder that we don't know everything about our own past. Not even close. Just think, someone 3,700 years ago went to a huge amount of trouble to print this message. They clearly expected it to be read. And so it leaves us with this one final nagging question. After more than a century of trying, will we ever break its silence?